Thank you so much. We'll get started. And
Oh,
thank you for the opportunity, Mari-Lyn, in this. And I know that, our lives are busy and chaotic, and I just humbled by the opportunity to share some of the things that we have in our world today in the Kindness Conference of 2021. I know the CKO, Chief Kindness Officer, and this is one of my themes in life is been around kindness. And the reason it's so important to me is because of some of the things that I've been through and some of the challenges that I've had. And a lot of times, as we know, kindness is a choice, and we sometimes have to make a decision about how we're going to be kind and what it is going to be and how it's going to show up in our life. We all have an opportunity to do these things and share these opportunities and a little bit of joy in our life. And for myself, there's been so many things that I can point to and realize that it's not always easy, and there's things that we've talked about, like we were talking about earlier. There's people that you can surround yourself with and people that you can actually be influenced by. And as always, there's no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. And it's like Brian was talking about with his kids coming into the room and knowing, um, I was hit by that because my two boys, that was one thing that I failed to deliver on in so many ways, is the opportunity to spend more time with my kids, pursuing this goal of being, providing them what I thought they needed versus providing them what they actually needed. And sometimes we get that confused. And so it's really important for us to kind of pay attention to what that looks like in our life. And I think for myself, what really hits home and really allows kindness to take place is gratitude. So many efforts in our lives, we have a choice about, okay, this person cut in front of me, or this person did something, and you take offense to some of these things, and you take offense to some of these opportunities. In reality, though, it's about being grateful for what you do have and not saying that you're lacking or something is missing, because you want to make sure that uh, you're adding gratitude to your world, you're adding gratitude to your life, you're being able and present in the moment. And one of the things that you always have to ask is, how am I adding gratitude to my day? What is it that is important to me, and how is this making a difference in my life? And so I always have to stop during the course of the day and breathe it in. You know, it's like, I'm okay. Life is going to be okay. And what can I share? How can I pay attention to somebody that needs a little kindness today? So I want to talk about that and share that today with you. And also, I one of the things that we've talked about, and I've heard this in this theme today in other speakers, is how do we encourage each other? How do we pay attention and articulate this value that we can bring to the table, and this kindness that we can share and deliver and provide to others? Because it's so important. I've been doing the pirate broadcast, and I bring people on every single day that allows me to have a conversation with different individuals in different points of their life and different challenges. Some have gone through tragic circumstances. Some people have gone through uh, uplifting and amazing adventures. And the theme that I always find consistent is the ones that are so inspirational, such an inspiration to be around, are the ones that are encouraging other people. And I always feel like it's important to understand that by encouraging others, you have an opportunity to give this gift and share something that will motivate and inspire and lift others up in their journeys. It's really important for us to be available to help others, because it's really difficult to be in a down mood when you're in the middle of helping someone else up and providing value in somebody else's environment in their life. And, we have an opportunity, 2 degrees of separation. We have an opportunity to say it's possible or impossible or I'm possible. And we have every day we wake up with an opportunity to actually change our life, change our direction, make a choice, because ultimately it's in our DNA to succeed in a lot of ways. And sometimes we get caught in this loop of what we can do or what we can't do. And when you decide that you can't do it, you'll find excuses in ways that you're unable to process and proceed and build a plan and make a difference in your day. And I just encourage you to think about how it is. So if you're an encourager and you can be an encourager, that gives you the fuel that you can actually use to be a little kinder, help others out, be of service. Abundance mindset is something that I try to practice all the time, and think about, giving love away, you will never run out. It multiplies, so if you think about that whole idea and that philosophy of being able to give a kindness away and encourage others, and think about the gratitude in your world, it perpetuates itself, and it encourages others to feel that way. Those that have been around people that may not be as thoughtful or considerate, it's really surprising when you avoid that kind of environment and you can maintain a more positive outlook, how things change, colors get brighter, your day is much better. And it's you get in tune with some of the things that are going on in other people's lives. And so there'd be times where today, I had a friend that we've been connected for over 30 years. And I just reached out to him randomly. I noticed it was his birthday, and so I called him up, left him a voicemail. He wasn't available. And I just wanted to share the thoughts. It's like we hadn't talked in years. And I just left him a nice voicemail, and I just said, hey, share some thoughts, and encouraged him to hope he's having a nice day. No action, no activity, nothing no expectation whatsoever in return. And so I got a return call today, and we had a long, wonderful conversation, and we both walked away with a way to help each other, a way to encourage each other, and some positive thoughts. So it's really, really important to maintain connections with the people that are providing positive goals in your life and positive things in your life, because as we know, life is not always full of rainbows and unicorns. I've had some really, I lost my oldest son, who just amazing individual, just encourager. I lost him to suicide 2 years ago. Last year, I lost my dad and broke my hip. I fell 3 stories back in '87. I was a musician one day, and the next day I was in the hospital for 2 years in rehab and reconstruction to try to save my arm. and recover from that. And all of these things, when I look back on these opportunities to choose how they will impact my life, I always found a way to find the lesson in it and find a way to feel like it's something that can move forward with. And sharing kindness is the decision I made a long time ago, about not about feeling sorry for myself, or having other people feel sorry for myself, or for me personally, but to encourage other people to find their kindness, find their joy, even in tragedy and circumstances that may not be ideal. You have to identify some lesson in there that you can take away, even if it's just a spark. Allow that to grow and expand, and allow kindness to uh, fill the room, and make sure that you're doing what you can to share that with other. And when you change your thoughts and you allow this idea to come into your life, that things are going to happen, whether we perceive them as good or bad, things will happen. They may not always be ideal. They may not always be something that we want to be involved in. However, how we deal with that and how we move through this process is the most important part of who we become. We're the fabric, and we're the story, and all of the experience that we've had allows us to be who we become. And that kindness that we can generate and process and put out into the world is a byproduct of who we want to be in ourselves. I know that there's been many times where I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about, I'm getting a few years older, and my aches and pains are a little more frequent. And I'm thinking, that's evidence that I have lived. It's evidence that I have had experience that I can actually take forward and share with other people. And these are stories that we have that we actually can maintain and provide. So change your thoughts, and it will change your world. And I believe that by sharing these thoughts and sharing these stories and sharing these experiences, we can actually teach others to maybe not have the same experience, but see our experiences something that's relatable in their life, and something that they can actually find hope in, and be encouraged to think in a different way, in a different thought, and provide guidance and goals and future and hope, and all of these things that propel humanity forward. So I really believe that we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of times right now it's on social media. It's in Zoom sessions. It's like conversations and collaborations like this that make a difference in our world. And by putting ourselves out there, sharing our stories, our achievements, our disappointments, our desires, and our ambitions, we actually have an opportunity to share these experiences in a way that can encourage and inspire others along their journey, because it's how we can actually make a difference. And I use the hashtag make it matter. And what I mean by that is all of the things that I've not necessarily done the most perfect way in the world. A failure isn't a failure if you learn from it. It's more like experience. It's an education. It's an opportunity to improve. And as I fall down and get bruised and beat up and find myself and get back up and move forward, we can make these connections. We can make a difference in people's lives, and we can actually do things that we can share with others to make a difference in their lives too. My youngest son, he lives in Houston. I live in Arizona. I'm a caregiver for my mom. I was a caregiver for my dad as well until he passed last year. And these are things that I have an opportunity to do. It's not a burden, it's a gift. It's an opportunity for me to serve and share the kindness and love that my family is involved in. And I hear stories, horror stories of other people and families that aren't necessarily ideal. And I'm just thinking, that's not my experience and that's not my story right now. I haven't had, I'm married and divorced. I haven't, it's not a story like my mom and dad. However, it's a part of my life that becomes who I am. And by sharing these stories, I can actually deliver some ideas that other people can live with. There's something to be learned from everyone. And we all have a story, we all have a gift, and we all have a message that we can actually encourage somebody else. So I encourage you to share your story, share your gift, deliver that kindness out to the world, and be a kindness officer that allows your gifts, your story, your experience to inspire and motivate others around you. It's really heartwarming when sometimes, I get on a show or I share a story or somebody shares a story on the show, and then comments come back and they say it made a difference. And those little snippets of inspiration can continue to grow and prosper and flourish. And we just have to nurture those conversations and make sure that we have an opportunity to develop our story, to encourage others to uh, be involved in that story. So I encourage you to share kindness and the opportunity to uh, create these moments of inspiration for other people. That's how we relate to the world. It's been in our DNA for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's just a part of who we are, storytellers. And it's just, I'm just really inspired by these stories today, and all the things that Mari-Lyn have put together in a pandemic. And I know when we look back on this and years later, it's going to be these kinds of opportunities that we have, that we learn something new, we encouraged others to be involved and engaged in these opportunities. So everyone has a message. I want to make sure that we know that everyone has a message, and we have an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. Every day we wake up, we have an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. And I also believe that everyone has a gift, and not everybody makes a decision to find their gift. And it might be in different things. Mari-Lyn, she blogs, I do live streams. Brian writes books. He coaches and speaks in front of other people. There's everybody here has a gift. Everybody here has a message, and everybody has an opportunity to share that gift. And it's really life's blessing to be able to do this. And put to the test is, again, what are you sharing? And when we start sharing positive, inspirational content or the creative process and shared kindness, that to me is the best thing that we can do. Compliments, and it doesn't require big efforts. It doesn't require anything. Return a shopping cart, compliment somebody on their efforts. Open the door, hold some space for someone. Listen, just pay attention. All of these things add up to be, like I said, an act of kindness is never wasted. It's no matter how small, it's never wasted. And people fail to understand and appreciate that effort and that energy that we could put out into the world. And I think a lot of people ask me, well, how do you stay so positive? And it's like, I'm not always positive. There's some downtimes, and I have to choose to be, make a decision to be, and also provide assistance and support to other people, which brings life into me. It helps me see a different perspective on things. And, this year hasn't been, the last year, 2020, 2021, it's all going to evolve. Things are going to happen in their own way. And so, people want to know, a lot of people say, well, what's the process, Russ? Is like, what's the magic bullet on this? How do we do this? How do we do this? Give me a map, give me a plan, give me a structure. It's like, okay, well, it's really have a little gratitude, put some kindness behind it, give it away, and then care. When people respond and react to your kind words, it's just like Brian was saying, be open to receive and be open to deliver. And once you take that caring and appreciation and appreciate the smallest things in the world, if you study any philosophy around the Stoic philosophers and their ability and opportunity, everything has a moment of appreciation. Even in the darkest hours, you can have some appreciation for this, because it builds gratitude. Whether it's good circumstance or a less than ideal circumstance, have gratitude and appreciation for those events, because that's what allows you to see the true gifts in the world, is the disappointments that you may have and the lessons that you learn from those disappointments. Bring the appreciation for the goals and the successes that you have in your world. And so that's the process. It's a simple process: gratitude, kindness, caring, appreciation, with more gratitude. And so I encourage you to practice kindness daily. Find something that you can illustrate in your day to others, to yourself. A lot of people may not think of kindness about being, self-care. And when you look in the mirror and you say something to yourself, what are you saying? What is it that you're telling yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? Because you really need to, it's like you get on the airlines, in the event of an unexpected event, oxygen mask will fall down, and please put your oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. It's the same in the life. And I'm not saying be selfish about it. I'm saying that you have to practice being kind to yourself, because you have to receive and appreciate and care, and then provide that gratitude back to the world, that kindness back to the world. And it's a cycle of life. It's being available and listening to that cycle, listening to that environment, listening to who you are and what you need, and paying attention to those moments. So many of us, and this is one of the things that I was challenged. I grew up thinking that life had to be a certain way. You had a series of events that took place. I, on the other hand, was going to be a musician. That's the only thing I wanted to do. That's what I did. I played music and, started my first music career, and I was there. And in fact, Brian mentioned Seattle and Montana. And I've actually been in both cities where he mentioned, and it's one of those things that you have an adventure and you have an opportunity and you have experience in these things. And if you hold them and you're not paying attention and not sharing your stories, that's a tragedy. That's tragic, because those experiences can help motivate and inspire others. That's the belief in my core. And the other side of that equation about caring and receiving and appreciating is, like Brian mentioned, and also we've heard in these stories before in other speakers, is being available to listen and pay attention and be, one of the things that I wasn't available for was always listening to my family, because I was busy traveling and being in business and being, this corporate person climbing the ladder. And all of a sudden, when it all went away, it all went away. And so be available to listen, because you never know when that moment will pass. I was able to spend the last years of my life with my dad in his last years of his life, and listening to the stories and hearing his stories and him telling him, that's a gift. And being present for that is a gift that I'll always cherish. I'll always remember. And that's something that we all have an opportunity to learn and be from, is listening, paying attention to those around us, being present in the moment, and allowing ourselves to not listen to respond, but listen to be present, and listen to care, and just be a vessel and absorb these things. Mother now is in she's getting older, and she has some medical conditions. She fell and broke her arm, and listening to how she's responding and reacting to this is important to me now, and learning from that. And all of these moments build up to being able to have gratitude, helping others, being of service, and sharing abundance in love, kindness, and generosity in other things we do every single day. And I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you, Mari-Lyn, for all of the opportunities and the ideas and the challenges that we were going through, and being present in the moment. So I really appreciate this, and thank every one of you for being here today. And for anyone listening in the future, thank you so much. Appreciate it.